Hello and welcome to Context. I'm Anastasia Lavrina. These days, Tehran is in the spotlight, hosting the high-profile Tehran Dialogue Forum 2025, with over 200 delegates from more than 50 countries, including key regional players and global observers. This gathering is promoted by Iran as a testament to its ambition to establish itself as a central diplomatic hub in an era of shifting geopolitical dynamics. However, for Azerbaijan, the timing couldn't be more critical. Previously strained by Tehran's military ties with Yerevan and mounting mistrusts over border security and trade routes, Baku had approached Iranian overtures with caution. However, the dynamic is beginning to shift. The recent joint military drill conducted by Iran and Azerbaijan in the Karabakh region deserves clear analysis, from energy corridors to cultural diplomacy, from security threats to economic leverage. This episode of Context unpacks the dual narrative of Iran-Azerbaijan relations. With on-the-ground insights from Tehran and strategic analysis from Baku, we'll explore whether this conference signals a reset in their relationship or if it's merely rhetoric. Joining me now from Tehran is our own Turash Shuralilu, and from Baku we have Ahmad Alili, Director of the Caucasus Policy Analysis Center. Gentlemen, warm welcome to our program. And Turash, let me start with you. What is the main message Tehran is sending through this year's Dialogue Forum?
Thank you for having me. The Tehran Dialogue Forum, which started yesterday, sends a message of stability from Iran to the region and to the world, that Iran has adopted a multifaceted policy of negotiating with the United States on the nuclear program ground, and a couple of days ago with the European powers of UK, Germany, and France, and at the same time hosting such meetings, as you said, very high-profile meetings, foreign ministers from a number of countries. And mind you, related to the topic of today's program is Mr. Hikmet Hajiev, Presidential Aide of the Republic of Azerbaijan for International Affairs, which is itself very suggesting. And as you said at the beginning of the program, this participation of a high-ranking dignitary from Azerbaijan to Iran has been coincided with war games between Iran and Azerbaijan. And mind you, this time around, the Iranian forces taking part in these military exercises are from the Islamic Republic of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, which I think the selection of the elite forces of the IRGC is itself suggesting. So I see that both these developments coming through the continuum of the Tehran Dialogue Forum, as we pinpointed the issue of Iran-Azerbaijan relations, is a positive development that shows that both sides, both countries, and both officials, statesmen in Tehran and in Baku have decided and agreed to speed up the development of their relations. So I see that for Tehran, it's not only a show of intellectuals and dignitaries coming and exchanging ideas, but also a show of muscle, that Iran is powerful, Iran is managing its affairs under severest sanctions possible so far imposed on any country in the world, and this showing that Iran can manage its affairs in a number of ways and in different arenas. So I think that's the message Iran is sending to the world.
Well, indeed, that's very interesting, especially the sentence you mentioned, stability to the region and to the world. Ahmed, the view prevalent among Azerbaijani analysts seems to be that the three important pillars of security in Eurasia to be taken into account very seriously, and I would like to mention them first. Territorial integrity, non-interference in internal affairs, and trans-regional cooperation. Your thoughts on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, the post-developments taking place between Iran and Azerbaijan, it is well noticed, and I believe that everybody in the region, beyond the region, they are noticing all of these positive developments. And in the case, it's a special case that, alongside presidential aid, Hikmet taking place in this conference in Tehran, there is also joint drills between IRGC forces and Azerbaijan in Karabakh. So it's very symbolic for Azerbaijan that there were certain developments in the past years that Azerbaijan seeing this kind of commitment from Iran's special forces, IRGC forces, that kind of shows that alongside Iranian government, there is also very strong players in other fields. They also want to bring Iran-Azerbaijan relations to positive field and to make sure that they are developing in a positive direction. So it's a very positive development, I would say. But also the Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan was one of those countries, never ever forget its geographical position. It always understands that, it always can understand who is neighbor, who is a friendly country, how to develop relations with neighbors, friendly countries, and I believe that in this context, those messages that Mr. Hajiev told during the conference in Tehran, these definitely are going to create a positive momentum for Iran-Azerbaijan relations. And going back to your question, like that, it's how sustainable might this be? It's some, let's say, temporary positive developments or some sustainable development. I believe that Iran-Azerbaijan relations for the last couple of years, there were quite many ups and downs, and Baku and Tehran learned a lot from these ups and downs. So I believe that this time, those developments taking place, they're going to be more fundamental, they're going to have more structural effect on Iran-Azerbaijan relations, and especially the military drills taking place in Karabakh, that's a demonstration of Iran's commitment to Azerbaijan's territorial integrity, and also we are not witnessing the certain messages that Iranian officials made in the previous years about other regional projects. So it's definitely it's a positive development, and it's definitely different from the previous positive developments.
Well, the positive developments, but the past experience, I will say even sometimes negative experience. So Toresh, President of Iran now speaks of regional unity, but yet Iran's past military cooperation with Armenia raised alarms in Baku. Has Iran truly recalibrated its position?
Sure. The Iranian president visited Baku last month, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
And he expressed Iran's support for regional stability and peace in South Caucasia. So Iran is a neighbor of both Azerbaijan and Armenia. But Iran has said that or stated that these relations, bilateral relations, are not against any third party. Just take, for example, Iran's relations with Iraq. Iraq is now on a very friendly terms with United States, but Iran and United States have cut their relations for about 50 years. So to be in contact with Iraq, or Iraq's contact with the United States, doesn't mean Iran wants to cut its relations with Iraq. Another example is Turkey, neighboring Turkey. The border between Iran and Turkey has been the safest and the calmest border for the last 400 years, since Ottoman kings, sultans, and Safavid kings in Iran. Like 450 years back, there has been no war between Iran, but Turkey is a member of NATO. So Iran doesn't, in a way, handle its relations for and against another country. So I don't think personally that if Iran is on a friendly and close and perhaps on a strategic relation with Armenia, that means that Iran is going to work against Azerbaijan or vice versa. Again, back to what is happening regarding the Iran-Azerbaijan military exercises, even the operational theater where the exercises are being conducted is itself symbolic and suggesting is taking place in Karabakh, which Iran, I think, is showing this determination and support for friendship with Azerbaijan. So I think we don't need to be have a sort of obsession with one country's relations with another. Imagine the same sensitivities exist in Tehran regarding the Baku-Tel Aviv relations, but Iran has not. This has not affected Iran's relations with Azerbaijan simply because Baku has relations with Tel Aviv. That Iran says, okay, I don't want any relations. Iran and Azerbaijan are neighboring. And when you are neighboring a country, it's like becoming members of a family. There could be differences, different ideas, different viewpoints in a family itself, but never a member of a family will sacrifice the other member of the family for its purposes. Speaking in a normal, logical family. So I think both Azerbaijan and Iran are acting logically, and by sending delegations, exchanging of delegations. I was going through, before coming to this program, I was going through the highlights of Mr. Hajiyev's Q&A meeting in Tehran Dialogue Forum. The points that he has raised, I think Iran has the same or shares the same mutual interest. He said that Iran, Azerbaijan are located in a very geopolitically strategic region. He suggested launching joint projects between Iran and Azerbaijan. And these projects, what he meant, as far as I could follow, are exclusive projects, like projects in railway. He again, I'm trying to follow through his, he suggested and supported cooperation among Islamic countries, both Iran and Azerbaijan. So I think Iran shares the same viewpoint with the delegate or with the Azerbaijani dignitary who is here. And look at the meetings that he had. He has met Secretary of Iran's National Security Council, Mr. Ahmadian. He has met his counterpart, Mr. Mehdi Sanai, who is a presidential aide to Iran's president and former Iran's ambassador to Moscow. So I think now we are looking at a backdrop or against a backdrop of friendship and positive intentions, and both sides in one way are testing each other step by step. And I should say that prospects are promising in Azerbaijan future of relations.
Well, it seems indeed very interesting, and you touched very important issues. So, Ahmed, we do know that Iran has repeatedly expressed concern over Israeli presence and cooperation with Azerbaijan, and now we see that, as our expert also mentioned, that's not the issue for negotiations between the two countries, Iran and Azerbaijan. What will be your matter opinion on that? And also, what do you think about the future relations between Iran, Azerbaijan, Iran, Armenia?
I believe that, my colleague was very clear, and I believe it's a very positive moment also that there is an understanding now between Baku and Tehran about how to deal with with each other's relations with the third side. So in this sense, it's clear that if Azerbaijan is worried Iran-Armenian relations, Iran is worried about Azerbaijan-Israel relations, right? If we are tolerant to each other in these relations, so it means that we moved on and that we reached a certain conclusion on these developments. If these relations do not threaten our security, and I believe that Israel-Azerbaijan relations, they are, there is not that component that Iran should be worried about these issues. And I believe that there is no threat to the security, so this tolerating these relations is the most rational way to choose. And in this context, I believe that what Mr. Hajiev said about the neighborly relations, that even our Iran and Azerbaijan being relatives to each other, it's very correct description of these relations, right? Iran and Azerbaijan, these historical, cultural bonds, these relative relations with each other, have so many relatives in Iran and Azerbaijan that this is almost person-to-person relations now. So in this context, I believe that these relations, if we keep this consensus and build our relations and do not comment our relations on the third parties, and do not use these relations with the third parties to create a threat, security threat against each other. And I believe that Baku and Tehran can get along very well. I believe that, again, the relations, the developments of the last couple of years that demonstrated that Baku and Tehran, they cannot stay far away from each other. We are neighbors. There are so many relations, relatives living in both countries. So we have to find a way to live and do economic cooperation together. And this formula that we found, I believe that this is a quite sustainable formula. But of course, there are quite many details, and after some time we will understand those details. And I believe that officials will make those details publicly available, and then we will be more informed about this, the new reality in Iran-Azerbaijan relations. But again, our GC forces in Karabakh, together with Azerbaijan special forces, it has some meaning for Azerbaijan, some symbolic meaning for Azerbaijan, and I believe that in Baku there are quite many people who appreciate that.
And I have one more question to both of you. To Rush first, we discussed in detail the bilateral cooperation, the perspectives for Azerbaijan and Iran, the problems countries faced before, the perspectives for the future. But the bilateral relations will also affect the regional cooperation. That's why the countries also discuss the future of energy and transport communications. So Turash, how do you think the normalization of the bilateral relations between our two countries will also affect the regional cooperation and even broader? Previously, you mentioned Iraq, Turkey, the countries which also becoming very active participants of global projects.
I think a number of projects could be pinpointed and highlighted. I would like to focus on one or two of them because of time constraints. The very, very basic, interesting one will be Iran and Azerbaijan are located at crossroads. Iran can function as a hub of the north-south corridor, where it meets Azerbaijan as a crossroads of west and east corridor. So Iran and Azerbaijan in this way can scratch each other's back. I mean, they can support each other in this term. I mean, interconnection of regional countries from Indian Ocean coming to Persian Gulf, coming to Caspian Sea, coming to Caucasia, and then going to Europe or to North Europe. And from the other side, acting from the Eurasian view, starting from Europe, coming to Caucasia, and to Central Asia. So you see that how Iran and Azerbaijan can complement each other in this way. And number two, as you said, it mostly goes to their to the bilateral cooperation, the effect of their bilateral cooperation on regional activities. When Iran and Azerbaijan work together for peace, peace would bring with itself stability, and stability would bring with itself development. So what we talked about, development in the region, not only in the South Caucasian region, where now there is a peace, or I should say a truce condition or ceasefire condition, to look at it more realistically. And when a complete peace overwhelms the region, then we can see that development comes with this phenomenon. So I think, I agree that cooperation between Iran and Azerbaijan, and later sort of tripartite cooperation, can be a useful solution. Yesterday, in Tehran Dialogue Forum, Iranian foreign ministers of Iran, of Oman, and Qatar hold a tripartite meeting. And ironically, at the same time, I guess a high-ranking delegation from Armenia was here, and I'm not sure whether it was the Armenian foreign minister. So hopefully in future, when next year's Tehran Dialogue Forum meets, why not a tripartite meeting of Iranian, Azerbaijani, and Armenian foreign ministers sitting together, because they are all neighbors and talking together. I think this, let's cross our fingers that this development can happen next year in Tehran, that this bilateral cooperations can be extended to trilateral and regional relations.
Ahmed, that's indeed a very interesting point. Tehran is offering to be used as a platform for the future negotiations in between of Azerbaijan and Armenia, and even trilateral cooperation seems to be possible. What's your stance on the future regional cooperation?
Yeah, of course, it is a suggestion. I believe that it deserves to be analyzed, and it deserves to be reviewed for the future. Right now, we are witnessing that Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, there is a deputy MFA's meeting taking place in Tbilisi. There are some initiatives that these meetings can take place in Baku and Yerevan. And in this context, I believe that why Yerevan and Baku do not host the countries, the neighboring countries in their respective capitals, and invite the other side also, right? So in the future, I can predict that there will be certain meetings taking place in Yerevan or in Baku with, of course, Iranian, Azerbaijani, Armenian MFAs, Russian, Azerbaijani, and Armenian MFAs. The same thing about Turkey, right?
So we are coming back to the initiative proposed in the end of the Second Karabakh War, the dialogue in the format 3+3.
Yeah, of course, like that. Right now we are in the process of building 1+1+1. This is about South Caucasus. So once that format is established, we can take a look and see what we can do with the other formats. So, but it's, of course, again, I'm going back to what I said earlier. Azerbaijan is one of the countries that never ever forget about its neighborhood. Especially with Iran, with those deep historical, cultural relations that Iran and Azerbaijan being relatives to each other. So it says a lot. So I believe that in this context, we can generate quite many positive, quite many platforms that can assist us to positively continue this moment that we have right now.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much for joining our discussion today.
Thank you.
So, the Tehran Dialogue Forum may be Iran's platform, but its impact stretches well beyond its borders. For Azerbaijan, the message is unmistakable. Diplomacy must be backed by concrete actions. As Baku considers its next steps, Tehran's moves will be watched with caution and clarity. That's all for Context Now. Until next time.